What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Surprise Jab Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Ruger, surprising with new topics every single week and jabbing with your daily dose of UFC, and I've been excited to record this episode. We got a fun one on tap today, your official recap of UFC Perth, which kind of started off as an average day card, and how it ended was kind of fire, honestly. The main event and co-main event were absolutely electric, just two destructive performances, so very excited to recap all the action, discuss what is next for each every one of the fighters from the card, because a lot of guys are trending up, and we also went 10-3 on predictions. What a turnaround. What a turnaround. In a 1 week span, I go from my worst performance, 3-10, to one of my best predicting, I've done in the year, best predicting cards, best predicting whatever you want to call it, for the year, going 10-3. So excited to break down all of that on today's episode. As well, we're going to be giving our WWE Backlash Tampa predictions. WWE, of course, is having another PLE. They're going to go through a absolutely ridiculous PLE cycle in the month of May, and we got some new matchups to talk to you guys about. So for all my WWE fans, we got some fun stuff for you, and we'll be kicking off the episode with a little bit of some new UFC fights to bring to your guys' attention. But yeah, I've been back home in Minnesota, seeing the folks, seeing the girlfriend, and I'm trying to cook up a very fun UFC 328, I think we're on now, predictions episode, so stay tuned for that. It could be very massive, but without further ado, let's get right into it with some new UFC fights, including one which I am very torn on. Starting us off, we got a fun one coming at you. UFC 329 International Fight Week, which is filling up. We have a massive fight announcement, but for the lesser side of things, probably going to be on the prelims. This one, middleweight division, Zachary back in action, taking on Ryan Gondra. Ryan Gondra coming in off of Season 9 of the Contender Series. Big debut over Jose Medina, getting the win over him, which was fun, and I really like this contest. Zachary has been decent in the UFC, 4-3 with a no contest, been all over the place. We've seen big knockouts, we've seen him get knocked out, so we're just trying to figure out the ceiling for Zachary, and certainly taking on a hot prospect who's 9-1, most of his wins coming by knockout, not that promising, but I sense that Zachary could get it done if he's 100%, but Ryan Gondra, his nickname is the problem, and he has been a problem so far for everyone he's taken on. Another fight for you, this one coming at you, UFC 329 as well, International Fight Week. Cody Durden, man, this dude just does not stop fighting. Already has a matchup booked against O'Day Osborne. Massive upset, by the way, over Rafael Filo just a couple weeks ago, and, taking on O'Day Osborne, who is, 13-9 with 2 draws. A very, very interesting, actually, it might be 2 no contests now that I think about it, but who knows. O'Day Osborne holds wins over Charles Johnson and CJ Vergara. I guess Charles Johnson is probably the most notable name there, but honestly, I might have to favor Cody Durden here. Strength of schedule favors him, and he's been fighting like a madman, and after recently getting a little upset victory, it's hard not to want to root for him, so keep your eyes on that one. Flyweight division, Cody Durden looking to re-enter the rankings as he puts together a little winning streak. Maybe. We'll see. Another one for you. This one, UFC Baku, coming at you in Azerbaijan on June 27th. Welterweight division, Daniil Donchenko, your Ultimate Fighter winner from the past season. I think it was season 33, if I'm not mistaken, where he defeated Rodrigo Senzianato. He then would go on in his next fight to beat Alex Morono. So Daniil is 2-0 in the UFC. Born in 2001. He's from Ukraine. He's an absolute savage. They have a perfect first opponent for him here. First opponent, if he still feels so new, I guess this will be his 3rd UFC fight, so I guess he's experienced at this point. As he takes on Andreas Gustafsson. Andreas is 1-1 in the UFC. His only loss is to Renat Fakhretdinov, which is not a bad person to hold a loss to. He's 12-3 professionally and fights out of Sweden, and in his debut, he defeated Chaos Williams. So, very excited to see what happens here with, Andreas Gustafsson and Daniil Donchenko. Just 2 Eastern Europeans just going to battle, or I guess, Eastern and Western. You get a big, battle between both sides of the continent of Europe. So, I'm probably going to lean with Daniil Donchenko, but we'll have to see. He is about 10 years younger than Andreas Gustafsson. Another fun one for you, Nazim Sadikov. You got to have him on that UFC Baku card, June 27th. And they've got a match made with Mathaus Camilo, the Jaguar, is 1-1 in the UFC, holds a win over Czeslaw Borshev. Couldn't even tell you who he lost to, but for Nazem Sadikov, big fan of his. All right, he's 4-1-1 in the UFC. He was unfortunately knocked out by Ferzayam last time out, but hey, his fight against Nicholas Mota at Baku and last year was absolutely insane. Crazy comeback wins over Terrence McKinney, Evan Elder, fight of the nights. This guy is all over the place. Trains with Aljamain Sterling and with Merab Dvalishvili, so he's freaking talented. So I'm definitely going to favor Nazem Sadikov in this one, but Matheus Camilo, you never know what you're going to get with him. He actually holds a win over a guy named Dorobashk Nabatov, which is a fun name. But I'm a big fan of Nazem Sadikov, so the Black Wolf, I'll be heavily rooting for him. And then for our two biggest fights we've had announced, first one on the UFC Baku card, Rizvan Kuniev, the number 8 ranked heavyweight with a win over Holton Almeida, takes on Tyrell Fortune. Tyrell Fortune, of course, won his debut over Marcin Tybura, and they are not giving him an easy opponent as he takes on Rizvan Kuniev. I just find it kind of telling, too, that they're having these two face off. They're both just kind of two sluggish heavyweights with knockout power. Both, have managed to get a win in the UFC. However, they just don't have much hype with them, and I find it kind of unfortunate they're not having them face off with current heavyweights. The reason for that, I generally think, is because they don't think either of those guys can get wins over other people in the top 10. And when I look around at the heavyweight division, which right now is the weakest division maybe out of all the men, you could have ran Tyrell Fortune versus... Oh, gosh, and now that I look at it, really these two match up really well. Sergey Spivak, I don't know if he has a fight booked. I probably would have booked him against Rizvan Kuniev. Tyrell Fortune and Ante Delege might have matched up really well. But, very interesting that these two are facing off. I am probably going to ride with Rizvan Kuniev because he's from the region, and Tyrell didn't necessarily struggle in his debut. He won the fight. But when you're kind of, going head-to-head with Marcin Tybura at where he is in his career, you kind of got to check out the level of opponent that you're taking on. So, Tyrell Fortune, Rizvan Kuniev, a little heavyweight slugfest, always has potential to be great. But I'll tell you a fight which I can guarantee you is going to be great, and the fact this isn't even the co-main event makes me realize we're getting a massive card. As July 11th, International Fight Week, UFC 329, Benoit Saint Denis, the number 5 ranked lightweight on the planet, takes on the number 6 ranked Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. Literally two of my favorite fighters in the division. So when I look at lightweight, by the way, fan of Ito Pura, fan of Charles Oliveira, fan of Benoit Saint Denis, fan of Paddy Pimblett. It sucks these two have to fight, but it's going to be an absolute banger. Paddy is coming off his current, maybe the fight of the year right now against Justin Gaethje. Very entertaining matchup they had. And as for Benoit Saint Denis, his knockout of Beneil Dariush was absolutely ridiculous. So I'm very excited for this one. Both of these guys are going to be able to test their grappling and their striking, but as of right now, I don't know. I might lead Paddy. I'm weighing what I've seen from Benoit. And obviously the win streak has been phenomenal for Benoit Saint Denis. Obviously the Dan Hooker win. He was, TKO'd him. He, of course, also finished Beneil Dariush, Mauricio Ruffy. Who else has he gotten rid of on this little win streak? Kevin Propolic. So he has just been on a tear since losing to Nato Moicano and Dustin Poirier in 2024. So comeback fighter of the year in 2025 already has started out this year with a knockout of Dan Hooker, which I completely forgot about. And now he's gotten to take on Paddy Pimblett. So we're in for a fun one here, guys. I really hate this. I hope it's just a fight that I slugfest and both guys come out looking good because I love both of these fighters. So I hate to know that one of them is going to lose. But yeah, UFC 329, it's going to be a banger. You got to tap in. You got to tap in for that one. That is going to be one you do not want to miss. If you're going to have to miss any fights this year, do not miss that one. And that's a card where Conor McGregor is rumored to be on. I don't believe that for a second, but it could be true. So those are all the new UFC fights you guys need to know about and stay updated on. Let me know who you guys think is going to win. And I'll tell you what else we also predict on here is WWE events as well, because we are back with WWE Backlash Tampa coming at you May 9th. And, we're going to be on a pretty busy schedule this week, so I figured why not do our predictions for this on today's episode. So right now we have 5 matches and an announcement from John Cena. So let's give our thoughts on what we think is going to go down down at Backlash Tampa 2026. So for starters for this event, there was the announcement earlier this week that John Cena will be making an announcement. Now, what do we think he's going to be discussing? Well, I think it's going to be this new, I don't even know what you want to call it, WWE fan experience. It's some subscription you can pay for where you get like early access to then buy, I think, special passes for like to meet superstars. So I think it's an absolute scam. That's what I think it is. I just absolutely have no idea why they would think this is a good idea, but maybe there's some hardcore fans out there that are going to buy this, because I don't know if I want to pay a subscription service just to then get early access to buy more stuff to then go see someone where I'm going to be more inclined to spend money. It's all just a money grab, which I'm aware of. But I would not expect anything much from this John Cena appearance. He's going to get a pop from the crowd. He'll probably come out in a suit, which I don't like corporate Cena. I mean, I understand that, you know, he kind of retired the Jorts fit, but come on, John, you can come out in like your old t-shirt and something. You can still have some pants on, but hey, oh no, he'll probably kick off the event with it, or it'll be middle of the pack, but that is something that's going to be taking place there. As well, something very interesting here is that the first hour is actually going to be on ESPN2, which I find very interesting. So which matchups do we think are going to be on that first hour? Well, let's first get into the 5 matchups they have announced, which, by the way, I have no faith. They're going to add a 6th. They're probably going to stick with 5. So for starters, the first match, which I think will be on the, whatever you want to call it, the ESPN, whatever, 2, the first hour, I think they're going to do Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn for the United States Championship, the rematch from their WrestleMania match. And obviously, Trick Williams is winning this. Okay, Sami Zayn and Trick Williams are in this weird spot where it's like, Trick Williams is obviously the face and Sami Zayn is obviously the heel, but WWE haven't officially, done that yet. They've just still refused to make it so that Trick is the face and Sami Zayn is the heel. They still have them as like these good and bad characters, and obviously you're going to get a little bit of Lil Yachty in this, all right? Lil Yachty has just kind of become the, manager / just hype man to Trick Williams, which is fun, and yeah, so this match was made official. Trick Williams and Sami Zayn going to be running it back. All I hope is they get more than 7 freaking minutes. Give these guys 15 to 20. All right, there is no excuse for any match on this card to be under 10 minutes. Absolutely none. The only one, which I think shouldn't even be under 10, will be the tag match we're going to be discussing in a second here. But I definitely think that this match should definitely open the card and easily take up the first 30 of the, half and half that you get for the first hour, which you could even just do one match for that first hour. I will say the one thing with the time constraints is that UFC 328, which we'll of course be predicting later in the week, the main card starts at 8. So this event is starting early at 5, which, I'm here for. Happy to watch an event early at 5, but it just does feel super early for a WWE event to start, especially in Florida, which is basically it's going to be starting at 6, which means the event will be over before 9, and everyone can go out and party. But yeah, good stuff between Trick Williams and Sami Zayn. I hope we'll definitely pick Trick Williams to get it done. I should pull up my little thing here and lock in all my picks on. I do a little spreadsheet with my buddy, so you can best bet we're locking in Trick Williams. And the next match, which I think they're going to have on there, I don't know. I'm torn on which one, but I'm going to go Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. I feel like the masses know more about Seth Rollins than they do about some of the other characters, such as the women's match, tag team match, and of course the main event is known by everyone. Roman Reigns is transcendent when it comes to any other form of entertainment. Everyone knows Roman Reigns at this point. But for Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker, I just hope that even if ESPN 2, I assume they're going to have to end the match before they transition over to regular ESPN. But I'm definitely hoping that they give these two a solid amount of time. I mean, Seth Rollins and Gunther was a fantastic match. This has been a blood feud boiling since, how long has this been going on? Are we dating back to September, late August? I mean, these two have been feuding for quite some time now, and finally they're going to get their hands on each other. Mind you, it's in a singles environment. I definitely think that's going to play into effect here that, someone else like Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory, they may get involved, but this is not the first match these two are going to have. They're probably going to have a trilogy. So for this one, I'm going to give it to Braun Breaker. I just think that Braun Breaker needs to win this, because if he loses, even if he loses in unfair fortunes, his stock is plummeting, and I really hope WWE hasn't given up full hope on him for no reason. So, gonna go with Braun Breaker to defeat Seth Rollins. Hopefully there's some cool moments taking place there, but honestly, I'm hoping nothing gets messed up here. Okay, so we'll go Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker as the second match on ESPN2. And then we'll get into the final three taking place on the ESPN Plus subscription. First one, I think Io Sky Asuka. Now, this has been the most perplexing match placed on this card. This is just, with the release of Kairi Sane, she was a key element to the feud. She was the one that both women were fighting over in a friendship sort of stance. Like, Asuka wanted to control her. Kairi Sane was, obviously being controlled by Asuka in a very demeaning sort of way. And Io Sky was trying to free her from that as a good friend. And now that she's gone, people think she's going to come back. I don't know if that's going to be the case. Maybe it is, but in terms of this match, gotta go Io Sky. Asuka has not been legit in at least 3 years now. Okay, it has been 3 years since Asuka was taken seriously, and right now Io Sky is starting to climb the ranks of stardom in the the WWE. So, gonna go with her to get done. Io Sky over Asuka. Will it be clean? Will Kairi Sane return? We'll have to see, but I definitely am gonna go with Io Sky to get this one done. Now, I could see a world where, I don't know, maybe Kairi Sane comes back, fully embraces the heelness and takes out Io Sky, but I don't know. No need to overcomplicate it. Give Io Sky the win here. Have her go on and become world champion later in the year. There you go. And then what I think will be the co-main event. It could even open up the card. Who knows? The match placement. There's only one match we know that's set in stone. That's going to be the main event. But what I think would be a very good co-main event would be this tag team match that was made between The Miz and Kit Wilson and Danhausen and a random opponent. And yes, last week on SmackDown, it was announced that this would be a tag team match, which I think caught everyone off guard, as most people figured they'd take this Backlash event pretty serious, and this is a very comedic, very gimmick-filled match. Danhausen is a funny character, but what he has done is he's taken the WWE by storm, and I think putting him on a PLE again is a great move. The Miz and Kit Wilson, I've loved their chemistry. The Miz in this role right now as a mentor, I would kind of love, especially if we know he's going to retire, for him to break out of it and make another singles run. I don't know if world title would be in the future, but maybe like a mid-card title would be fun. However, for Kit Wilson, a complete 180 on his career, which has been fantastic. He was obviously about to get cut, part of whatever boring tag team he was in, but he's been revived, he's killing it, and I'm just think everyone's excited to see who Danhausen's tag team partner is. Now, some people are thinking it could be Oba Femi, some people are saying Jelly Roll. Honestly, I don't even have a guess. I generally don't know. I might just throw out Royce Keys, just because he's been new. It'd be good to showcase him on a, PLE, if you will, so that'll be my prediction, just to mix it up, if that even is mixing it up. However, I don't really know. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be a comedic match, but in terms of serious wrestling, that's what the other matches are on this card. So this will be a little comedic relief before we get into the super fun, super intense main event. So just do with that what you will. And as for who I think will win, it's obviously going to be Danhausen. Danhausen is going to be winning using some comedic, supernatural, gimmicky timing of some sort. So I'm just excited to see who the random partner is going to be. And it could be someone fun, it could be someone not fun, and who knows, it might just be Jelly Roll, because we all love Jelly Roll, I suppose. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right on into the main event here. Roman Reigns, Jacob Fatu, and they've done pretty good. They've had about, two Raws, 3 Monday Night Raws, 2 SmackDowns to build this up. There's one more SmackDown before Backlash, and I think they've done a pretty decent job. They've been doing what they can. There's going to be another Monday Night Raw tonight to really seal the deal on this feud. But I think it's pretty obvious Roman Reigns is going to win. Now, do I think he's going to win clean? He might. He might, because, I don't really know what they're going for here, if any bloodline are going to get involved. People are saying Zilla Fatu might debut. He's another member of the family who's currently not in the WWE. I think he's in TNA, if I'm not mistaken, but he has, a belt currently, so I don't know if he's going to relinquish the belt, but it might be in Ring of Honor. I don't know, but Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu, they got the family lore, stuff like that, but I think everyone's just got to go with Roman Reigns. Now, the interesting thing, I don't know if Roman Reigns is going to survive the end of the month holding on to this belt, but I would really love the swerve if they gave this to Fatu. I'll say, I think WWE could really use it. I don't want to say this feels predictable because I think they're trying to add a level of unpredictability, but it certainly is like, okay, Roman Reigns is the tribal chief. Roman Reigns is him. Everyone, of course, thinks he's going to win. So it would be kind of fun if they mixed it up and, they obviously went with Jacob Fatu to become the World Heavyweight Champion. Because then you can do all sorts of feuds. Him versus either the Usos, Solo Sikoa, CM Punk you can mix in there. You can mix in a whole plethora of characters. And I certainly think when it comes to Obafemi, Obafemi is going to be World Heavyweight Champion this year. I think everyone's kind of penciling that in, but it's just a matter of who you want him to beat. And does him beating Roman Reigns right off the rip, that's a high-level win to get right there. It's not easy to defeat Roman Reigns, whereas beating Jacob Fatu for the belt, it's still legit, and he's still winning the belt. So we'll have to see what takes place, but I am going to go with the safe option, if you will, predicting Roman Reigns to win, as I tried to get a little bit risky at WrestleMania, and it didn't pay off. But those are your Backlash predictions. Let me know what you guys think. It's a decent PLE. It's nothing to really write home about, but it'll still be a fun watch if you're a wrestling fan. And I'll tell you what was fun to watch if you're a UFC fan, and that was UFC Perth. That was right. Jack Del Maddalena, Carlos Prates, their little fight night did not disappoint. Here's your official recap and reaction to everything that went down at UFC Perth. Picking off the card, we were in the lightweight division. Cody Steele, Don Marfan, and boom, love it. Cody Steele not only gets the win, gets his second career submission, and it's a round one heel hook. I think this caught everyone off guard. Cody Steele opening the card with this. Don Marfan, the hometown favorite, everyone rooting for him, but one thing we noticed right off rip is that Cody Steele staying on him, lands a takedown. All he needed, kept it in control. Don Marfan did reverse it for about 28 seconds, but then lost the position, and Cody Steele was able to get back on it. Both these guys only landed one significant strike, and once they got their legs tangled up, Cody Steele just worked his magic, and Don Marfan had to tap. So, great win for Cody Steele. This is going to be very hard for people to believe. This is his first win since October of 2024. Like, this is crazy. This is only his second UFC fight. So, great stuff. Cody Steele, I predicted you'd get the win. I did not expect it to be by submission. I'll tell you what, of all the things I thought, submission was not in the cards, but good win. Going out there, fighting hard, happy for you, man, and excited to see what's next for Cody Steele. I mean, sky's the limit now. You just got to stay active this time. Please don't, only have one fight each year, Cody. That's not how you're going to achieve a bunch of success, but there's going to be a ton of lightweights out there for him to matchmake with. I honestly, trying to think of one right off the top of my head is kind of tricky, but someone fun, I think he's on a 2-fight losing streak, is Ishmael Bonfim. I think he's still under the contract with the UFC. I know he had just lost in November, but I think it'd be a good next fight for him. Test his ability, test, him against a decent opponent who has still lost, so could be an option there. As for Don Marfan, I do not think this is the end of the road for you, my friend. I still think there is more opportunities out there for you. And actually, a lightweight who I'm going to matchmake him with is Mandel Nalo. Mandel Nalo just had a very entertaining fight with Jai Herbert last week, or actually 2 weekends ago now, and he lost, but he looked impressive doing it. I think him and Don Marfan for their second UFC fights, facing off with one another, could be fun, but especially since I predicted Cody Steele to win, this made this super fun, and honestly, I'm liking Cody Steele's odds of rising up the ranks of the UFC. After that, we had a little split decision. Jonathan Mikulav defeats Themba Gorimbo. I don't really know what fight the judges were watching. I thought this was pretty simple. Rounds 1 and 3 to Jonathan Mikulav. You could even make a 30-27 case, but 29-28, 29-28, and 29-28, Jonathan Mikulav gets the win. Now, in terms of significant strikes, 55-39. Had him there. For takedowns, 1 of 4 for Jonathan, 3.5 minutes. For Themba, 2 of 5, 5.5 minutes. And obviously he had a good round 2. Was able to land a takedown and hold him there a majority of the round. But, at the end of the day, when it came to the striking, Mikulav was just a step ahead, and impressive stuff for him. He is now 3-0 within a year and a half. That's pretty good. That's pretty good right there. He's 10-1. He's been doing all right. I'll say he's in close fights. Mikulav is in close fights, but when you come in as a minus 335 favorite, you're expected to get the win, and he did. So, welterweight division, look out. Jonathan Mikulav is here. He's probably going to be getting some bigger opportunities, especially with a win over Themba Gorimbo, of all people. One name that's coming to mind to me is Jeremiah Wells and Nicholas Dalby. Those two are squaring off coming up here in a week or so. So, I say we just have him fight the winner of those guys. As for Themba Gorimbo, 3-fight losing streak, not looking good. He's 14-7 professionally. I presume they'll keep him. All right, I don't think they're going to axe him from the UFC, but it's hard to see him succeeding. So we're going to matchmake him against someone else who, for the life of them, can barely get wins here and there in Kelvin Gastelum. So Kelvin Gastelum, Themba Gorimbo, I think it's a good fight for both of those guys, especially with their age and, how they've been doing as of late. So let's run Jonathan Mikalev versus the winner of Jeremiah Wells and Nicholas Dalby. Let's run Kelvin Gastelum and Themba Gorimbo. But I thought Mikalev looked good here. Hometown favorite wins. Always get the crowd going. After that, we predicted our first fight incorrectly. Like I said, we only had 3, so it was few and far between, but just a tough loss for Ben Johnston here. Ben Johnston kind of cruising to a victory. All right, obviously the veteran had been dreamed to fight in the UFC, finally gets an opportunity, and he wins round 1. Literally nothing happens, holds him against the fence, but nonetheless wins round 1. Round 2, gets dropped by Wes Schultz, but immediately takes control of the round. All right, I just want to preference this, that the fight ended at 1 minute and 50 seconds of round number 3. 9 minutes and 16 seconds of the fight up until that point was controlled by Ben Johnston. All right, he landed 2 takedowns as well, was doing a really good job there. But the one thing Wes Schultz kept doing was just spamming guillotine chokes. I mean, every single time he could get his hands near his neck, he was going for a guillotine choke, and he defended 4 of them, but that 5th one is what got him, and Wes Schultz gets a submission about 1 minute and 50 seconds into round number 3. And I think, he's not going to go far. I do not see Wes Schultz going far here in the UFC. But in terms of Ben Johnston, just negative fight IQ. I do feel bad for the guy. Your dream is to fight in the UFC. Doesn't go as planned, but Wes Schultz as a plus 150 underdog closes, gets the win. Got to feel happy for him. Now, as a middleweight, I just don't really know what to do with Wes Schultz. He's obviously managed to get a victory here, but it wasn't the most impressive per se. It will be his 6th career submission and 8th career finish overall. So who do we have him square off with at middleweight? There were a couple other middleweights on this card, so I might do one of them. Hold off on a second. I may mention someone else. But in terms of Ben Johnston, he will not be invited back. Didn't look anywhere near as impressive as people hoped he would, especially when you're up 2 rounds and you lose in the 3rd. It leaves a sour taste in the mouth. So Ben Johnston, you made it to the UFC, 35 years old. Just go retire, my friend. You did well. After that, bantamweight division, Colby Thickness and Vince Morales, Thickness, however you want to say it, gets the win. Good job, Colby. Good job. A little 29-28 close decision. All right, close decision. Round 1, Colby spamming submissions, landing some good shots. Round 2, kept it on the feet, outstruck him. But round 3, Vince Morales wobbled him, landed a good takedown, almost hit him, with some knockout shots. But Colby was able to survive, and a win's a win's a win, no matter how it's done. So Colby Thickness will remain 2-1 in the UFC, 9-1 professionally. His only loss to Alexander Topuria. So Colby Thickness, you just keep doing what you do best, and that is win fights. Now, bantamweight is a tough weight class to do that in, so we'll see what happens next for him. There's going to be a lot of options for someone of Colby's caliber. I'm trying to think of a good name, and I don't know if he's still in the UFC, but Toshiyama Kazama, who was slam finished by Elijah Smith. If he's still in the UFC, I think that would be a fun fight if you want to run. Now, in terms of Vince Morales, this is now his 6th straight loss in the UFC. His UFC record is now 3-9, which is not good. And overall, it's his, I think, 3rd straight loss. So Vince Morales, 16-11 professionally, getting axed from the UFC. And at only plus 140, he almost did rally. So props to him. But yeah, the night belongs to Colby Thickness, getting it done, getting the decision. And there's going to be other bantamweights out there for you to fight, Colby. Just stay active and ready. Alrighty, next up on the docket, middleweight division. Kind of another bummer decision. Okay, I can't lie, it wasn't the most exciting. Jacob Malkoun, Gerald Meerschaert, and GM3 managed to win a round. I'll say that. GM3 managed to win a round. I think it was round 1. So Malkoun did land a takedown, but it was reversed and then almost locked in a submission by Meerschaert, who controlled the round for 4 minutes. After that, Malkoun kept it on the feet in round 2 and calculated his takedowns in round number 3. Now, GM3 was going for subs. Not like he wasn't, but Malkoun stayed on it, stayed collected, got it really done with the striking as well. 36 significant strikes to 32. Was it entertaining? Not really, but a win's a win's a win. That's all you can really say here. So, Malkoun, 3 straight wins for him. Good stuff, my friend. First win since, actually, he's 2-0 this year. He hadn't fought since 2024. So, 2-0 in 2026. We're already in May, so that's how you freaking do it. Now, middleweight is a deep, deep division. I was debating him versus Wes Schultz. I might actually say, let's just do Gerald Meerschaert versus Wes Schultz. GM3 is on a 5-fight losing streak, though, so I don't know how much longer he's going to be in the UFC. But, man, it's really tough to talk about what is next for both these guys. Obviously, they have good grappling, but they just didn't really blow anyone away with this performance. So, Malkoun, you can just fight Wes Schultz since you're on the same card, and I'm looking at you. As for GM3, oh gosh, I don't know. I don't know what to do with GM3. I hate to just sacrifice him to other middleweights, but maybe someone like, gosh, did he already fight Brad Tavares? He did in 2025, nonetheless. I'm trying to think of anyone I can give GM3 to. There just really isn't anyone, guys. I hate to be that guy, but GM3, you may just be screwed, my friend. Maybe Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland, GM3. There's a fun fight. Have those two fought before? They have, wow, back in 2019, and he lost a split decision. So let's run that fight back because I have no idea what the frick to do with you. I'll tell you who I do know what to do with, and that is Junior Tafa, and that's to give him another UFC fight. This man just saved his UFC career, unless his contract expires and they don't re-sign him, by knocking out Kevin Christian in round number 1. About time. About freaking time, Junior Tafa. And by the way, Kevin Christian knew the game plan, knew what needed to be done. Trying takedowns, 2 off the rip, don't work. Junior Tafa just starts landing punches, wobbles Kevin. Kevin falls down or kind of slips. I don't know what exactly happened to him, but man, Junior Tafa was able to get into half guard, start landing some nasty elbows, and Matt Wynn was like, you know what, I got to stop this fight before I lose my reffing license. And Junior Tafa gets another win in the UFC as the minus 175 favorite. 7th career knockout. Mind you, he has 7 wins. So, feel good moment for Junior Tafa, but man, I hope they keep him. I honestly hope they do, because if you get a win like that, you might as well be rewarded. Why the frick not? Junior, happy for you. Your brother Justin just never was able really to do much, but maybe you can do some stuff. We'll have to see. What could be next for Junior Tafa? It is tricky to see. You know, like I said, he lost earlier this year and really tried to get right back on the wagon and was able to. Someone who's on a 3-fight losing streak, who I think could be an entertaining fight, is Aibo Aslan. What about Aibo Aslan versus Junior Tafa? I think that's a money fight right there. For Kevin Christian, he's 0-2 in the UFC. I wouldn't mind just feeding him to a light heavyweight on the come-up. Maybe Ivo Baranowski. Ivo Baranowski just kind of murders everyone he fights. Him and Billy O'Connor are fighting. If he wins that, let's just feed Kevin Christian to him. But Junior Tafa, excellent knockout, really good fight, and happy for you. Happy for you, my boy. Next up, Cam Rouston and Robert Brzeziak. Another snoozer, sadly. That's why I say the card kind of started off kind of average and then built, which is always good. But yeah, Cam Rouston just kind of showing different elements of his game here. I'll say if there's any place you're going to do it, probably at this point of your career. Lent on the takedowns. Like I said, 79 significant strikes to 17, 3 takedowns, 10 minutes, 10 seconds control time. That's how he shut out Robert Brzeziak. Robert is talented, evidently, and Cam just didn't want to stand with him, which I don't blame you. Robert has some punching power. But Cam will now move to 3-0 in the UFC. I think the winning streak is at 7 now, which is very impressive overall. And, middleweight division, it runs deep. So what to do next with Cam? Honestly, maybe Jacob Malkoun. Now that I think about it, if he's going to grapple, let's put him against a true grappler and Jacob Malkoun, and that'll test the striking of Malkoun, because I know that Rouston can strike. I didn't even realize he was much of a grappler. All Brzeziak really did was throw up a submission. We'll try and guillotine attempt at some point. But yeah, he's 1-2 in the UFC. He'll probably be back. There's other middleweights out there for Robert. Maybe a winner of Andre Petrovsky and Cody Brundage can take on Robert Brzeziak. That's what you can do there. But good win for Cam. Did what he had to do. There's going to be other fights out there for you. But yeah, prelims closed out. We did a very, very, very well on the prelims. What do we go? 6-1? 6-1, I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 6-1. Only fight we predicted incorrectly. I don't really regret it, though, because, Ben Johnston was doing well before he just, succumbed to his averageness. But Wes Schultz, Good win there for you. Highlights was Cody Steele getting a sub, Wes Schultz getting a sub, and Junior Tafa getting a knockdown. No real fight of the nights. All the decisions were kind of meh. And then we got into the main card. And the main card had us worried. We were actually worried this was about to be an awful card when Louis Sutherland took on Tai Tuivasa in just one of the worst fights. It might be the worst fight of the year. And Tai Tuivasa is loved by all. He's entertaining, but his downfall needs to be studied. I have no idea what Tai was thinking here. Tai literally just had a fight with Talashan Teixeira where he looked better than he did here. And Louis Sutherland somehow looked like $1 million when he looked really bad himself. 5 of 11 on takedowns, 11 minutes and 45 seconds control time. Tai at 2 points almost reversed the tide, but Louis reversed it back over. 21 significant strikes to 13, 111 total strikes to 27. Tai just literally wasn't throwing. Tai was just trying to defend takedowns, and even when he did, he looked awkward doing it. And then he threw up a brutal, knee to the head of Louis, which kind of just, Rich Mitchell just let it keep going, and they looked back and then took a point from him. But yeah, Tai Tuivasa, this is now 7 straight losses. Hasn't won since 2022, and each performance, he looks just a lesser version of himself. Like the Shogun loss still looked like $1 million. Sergey Pavlovich just stunted. Volkov had nothing for him. Marcin Tybura, literally nothing. Jairzinho, nothing. Talashan, nothing. And against Louis Sutherland, not good. So it's really hard to see them giving Tai another shot. I don't know how many fights are left on his contract. If his contract expires, then he's definitely done so. I'll say that for certain. He's definitely getting axed if that's the case. But if he still does have a fight left, he was originally supposed to fight Sean Sheriff. I guess you could do that. But at 7 straight losses, already 0-2 in the year, with 2 just boring decision losses, it's hard to say what's next for Tai. At one point, it's crazy to think if he'd have beaten Shogun, he probably would have fought John Jones. It's crazy to think a lot can change in 4 years, for the good and for the bad. But hey, it's just how it goes. On the upside, Louis Sutherland gets his first career win in the UFC, I should say. He improves to 11-5. And yeah, after debuting in October, getting heel hooked and then knocked out, both in under 2 minutes, getting a win here is a good look. But he was kind of fiery on his, post-fight interview. And honestly, for the performance he gave, it was giving me Sean Strickland vibes of, Sean Strickland, actually not Sean Strickland, his last performance was good. Ian Gary promises violence every fight and never delivers violence, which is crazy because he might be getting a title shot. But yeah, Louis Sutherland, I would not throw him towards the rankings yet, but honestly, he's not far. He really isn't far. Talashan Teixeira is taking on Sergey Pavlovich. Josh Hokett, Derek Lewis are fighting. Jairzinho Rozenstruik is not in the UFC. If Marcin Tybura is in need of a fight, maybe you could give Louis Sutherland to him. All right, there's something you could do, but I don't really know what I want to see next for this guy. Maybe Shamil Gaziev, Louis Sutherland. There you go. That's the fight. That's the money fight, in my opinion. Shamil Gaziev, Louis Sutherland. Just 2 big ape gorillas, which, by the way, these are two white guys from Europe. I should say that. When I say these are 2 big gorillas, I mean they're 2 big boys. All right, don't cancel me. These are a freaking Russian and a Scottish man. So, yeah, who are both white, might I add. Oh, my gosh. I'm going to get canceled out here before I even blow up. But, yeah, Louis Sutherland, you got the win. That's all I can really say to you, my boy, because it was not that entertaining. But fear not, ladies and gentlemen, because from here on up, it was nothing but money fights. That is right. I'll say there was only, the decision was kind of average, but it was still probably one of the better decisions. Probably the best decision we had of the night. But kicking off our great run to end the card, which, by the way, I woke up at 6 in the morning to watch this, and I sat through Tai Tuivasa and Louis Sutherland and was like, if I have to sit through another one of these fights, I'm going to go back to bed. And Brando Peric and Shamil Gaziev lit me up. Fight of the night. Just 2 heavyweights, just swinging for the fences. I mean, night and day fights at heavyweight. Tai Tuivasa, Louis Sutherland, the bottom of the barrel. Shamil Gaziev from Brando Peric, the bulk and bear, my man, getting it done. Round 1, 42 significant strikes to 25. Round 2, 47 significant strikes to 16. And these 2 were just wobbling each other, throwing caution to the wind, just swinging for it. And eventually Shamil was hanging his head up too high. Peric catches him. Down he goes. Lands the knockout in round number 2. Brando Peric has quietly came into the UFC in September, gone 3-0. All of them knockouts. One of them a fight of the night. One of them a performance of the night. And he's now on a 5-fight winning streak. Wow. 7-1-2 professionally. I mean, great stuff. Brando Peric, you are now going to be ranked number 14 minimum number 14 minimum in the heavyweight rankings. And I'm excited for him, man. He delivers. He brings the energy. As much as my boy Shamil Gaziev did lose, I'll say another good loss for him. Obviously he lost to Waldo Cortez Acosta in November. That is what it is. But, Shamil Gaziev, this just isn't his ceiling. Okay, his ceiling is going to be, other guys. But this might be his ceiling. I think what I'm trying to say is Shamil Gaziev should be taking on the Louis Sutherlands of the world. That's the fight I want to see next. For Brando Peric, he's on the bigger and better things. I'm talking the loser of that Tyrell Fortune and Rizvan Kuniev fight. I'm talking Ante Delege. I don't know what Ante has next. Does Ante have a fight booked next? Yeah, he lost to Sergey Spivak, so I think Ante Delege would be a good fight for him next. Dare I even say loser of Pavlovich and Teixeira. So Brando Peric is getting a nice name in the top 15 next time he fights, and especially when you're coming in off a fight of the night, this is what the heavyweight division needs. So add him to the Making Heavyweight Great Again list. It's him, it's Josh Hokett, it's Walter Walker. Those are your guys. Walter Cortez Acosta I'll throw in there. Those are the guys trying to make heavyweight great again, because truly, it's the lowest it's ever been. After that, shortest notice fight we've had on the event, Marwan Rahiki and Ollie Schmidt, literally made 3 days before the event. And I'm lucky we didn't look too much into this, because Marwan Rahiki just casually knocks out Ollie Schmidt. I mean, literally as simple as it gets. Marwan Rahiki, 22 significant strikes to 9 in just over 2.5 minutes. Knocks him out. I mean, what was it even close? Was it even close? Marwan Rahiki pieces him up on the feet. He drops him with a nice little combo, and there it is. Stopped just like that. So Marwan Rahiki speedrunning the UFC to get a win streak here. This will be another knockout for him. 100% finishing rate at 9-0 so far. Dana White's Contender Series, one of the most entertaining fights in a comeback of the year. March, comeback of the year fight against Harry. Actually, not a comeback fight against Harry Hardwick. He just destroyed Harry Hardwick. And then here, getting another knockout. So for Marwan Rahiki, featherweight is your wheelhouse. You've come into the UFC, gotten it done, and you're going to be blessed with some big opportunities here. For Ollie Schmidt, back to the regional scene. Sorry, kid. 25 years old. You're still not done. You give yourself 3 years, you can come back to the UFC. But for Marwan Rahiki, this guy is my age. All right, he's 23 years old, turns 24 in, I think, May 10th, actually. Oh, coming up here. Oh, you can watch UFC, UFC 328, and then it'll be your birthday. What a good night for you. What a good weekend, I should say. But yeah, for Marwan Rahiki, featherweight, rankings, not yet. Don't throw him at the rankings, but someone kind of close to them. Who did Melchizedek Costa just knock out? Who's a good Morgan Shereen. Morgan Shereen, the last pirate fighting out of Paris. I think that would be a fun fight. I don't know how active Marwan's going to stay, but that would be a fun name for him to square down with. I think those two would strike the living daylights out of each other. So Marwan Rahiki, you absolute beauty. Didn't get a performance bonus, but like I said, I think you get $50K now if you even get a knockout or a submission. So you got paid, you got the win. Hometown crowd, might I add. Marwan Rahiki is from the area. Very happy for you, my friend. After that, the last kind of just average fight that we had, because the main event and co-main event transcended everything we saw. Tim Elliott, Steve Erceg, squared down. It was a good fight. I'm bummed on the Tim Elliott pick. Like I said, he was plus 500 at one point, so literally was a risky pick, but we had to do something on this card, and I was rocking with it for the start. He outstruck Steve round 1, 39-24, and landed 2 takedowns. But then round 2, Steve Erceg started feeling himself, outstruck him by 20, and then round 3 was just in his bag, outstruck him by 41 significant strikes. So Steve Erceg getting it done, but Tim Elliott really impressed me here, especially at 39 years old. He's not going to make a title run, but you know what? He's only going to move down 1 spot in the rankings. And honestly, I think he beats guys like Andre Lima. I think he beats guys that are trying to break into the rankings, if you will. So I just want to see fun fights for Tim Elliott. So if you're going to be giving Steve Erceg a top 10 name next, in my opinion, he's probably on to a higher fight. In terms of what I want next for Tim Elliott, it may be Charles Johnson, and I think those two deserve to fight one another, especially since they've just been fighting top-level talent for the longest time. They haven't crossed paths somehow. They're both up there approaching 40, so I think that's a fantastic match to make with each other. For Steve Erceg now, since going on that little losing streak, he's on a 2-fight winning streak. Both of them close decisions, but this one I'm more confident in that he got it done. He'll move up to number 11. So what do we do next with Steve Erceg? Well, it's kind of tricky. I think Alex Perez has a fight booked against someone. Who's he fighting next? Sumadarji. So I'd say maybe the winner of that, winner of Sumadarji and Alex Perez versus Steve Erceg, would be a fun fight. Maybe Amir Albazi at 7. I think that's as high as I can go. Amir Albazi at 7, just because, I don't know how high I really want to have him fighting up. So Amir Albazi, or the winner of Sumadarji and Alex Perez, which will presumably be Alex Perez. But good win for Steve Erceg, especially in front of your home nation. Happy for you, my man. Good stuff, Steve. He was at a low point in his career after he had lost his 2 fights. But let's stop there. Let's get into the co-main event right now, right here, because Quinlan Sakiad absolutely obliterated Beneil Dariush. And I just want to say, this wasn't easy. It was a tough 3.5 minute fight Quinlan Sakiad had to go through. And whether he likes it or not, he has skyrocketed himself into the UFC here. Okay? 12 significant strikes is all it took. All right? He was taken down twice, defended 2 of 5 takedowns. So the fight lasted 3 minutes, 29 seconds. 2 minutes and 32 seconds was Beneil controlling him. All right? But Quinlan did really well. It looked like Beneil had dropped him, but he actually had slipped kind of. Caught him kind of with a tough jab, and Quinlan was moving backwards. And, like I said, once you gave Quinlan some space, just landed some nasty combos on Beneil, dropped him, then almost kind of dropped him again. They only gave him 1 knockdown, but it was basically 2. Started laying in some punches, and Rich Mitchell wasted no time jumping in to save Beneil Dariush as Quinlan Sakiad gets yet another freaking knockout. This guy's insane. This dude's insane. 12-1 on a 12-fight winning streak. 5th career knockout, 9th career finish. This dude's a beauty. Absolute beauty. 5-0 in the UFC, and he debuted in February of 2025. This is his 4th performance bonus, 4th career finish, 3rd straight round 1 finish. Oh my gosh. Already 2-0 this year. And look at that. Finishes the number 12 guy, Beneil Dariush. Slap him in there at number 12. So excited to see what's next for Quinlan. It's impossible to pick. It really is. I would say Dan Hooker, but they're both from the region, so I don't know about that. I don't know, honestly. He called him a 2 scare mount, which was honestly a beautiful call out. I actually, low-key, let's just do Quinlan Sakiad versus Mateusz Gamrot. Mateusz Gamrot's stock is not going to be up. He's not fighting, now that we know Benoit Saint-Denis and Paddy Pimblett are fighting, he's not fighting Max Holloway or Arman Tsarukyan. Okay, low-key, the Arman fight could happen, but it's not going to happen. So I think, honestly, Quinlan versus Mateusz Gamrot is a perfect fight to make. Let's run that as soon as possible. I mean, Quinlan Sakiad, he looks like a beauty, fights like a beauty, and he is taking over the game by storm. Absolutely love him, and his social media game is hilarious. As for Beneil, it's kind of a sad stuff, 2-fight losing streak now. He's 1-4 in the last 3 years, and all 4 of those have been brutal round 1 knockouts. We did see a flashes of prime here against Beneil, and Quinlan did say Beneil still has a strong grip and hits hard. Mind you, he was only hit 3 times, but yeah, I mean, Beneil probably, I don't think they're going to boot him from the rankings, but it's not going to be pretty next. If anything, I just ask he fights Jim Miller. I think Jim Miller's taking on Jared Gordon, so the winner of that. Beneil does not need to keep being fed to these prospects in the division. For goodness sakes, let's give him a break. Have him fight a fellow veteran. He's already 36 years old. But if the UFC is not feeling kind, then just make the fight against Manuel Torres. It was the fight we were originally supposed to get. Just make that if you gotta. But man, very happy Quinlan won. I did feel somewhat bad for Beneil, but at the same time, I was just rooting so much for Quinlan, I couldn't help but be pumped. So great win for Sakiad. Excited to see what's next for him in his career. And with that, we'll get into our main event. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. Carlos Prates, Jack Della Maddalena. So I picked Carlos Prates. Coming in, big Carlos Prates fan. I absolutely love the Nightmare, dude. He is so fun. What I didn't expect was for him to give his best career performance in the biggest fight of his career here against Jack Della Maddalena, where every round he got better, drops Jack 3 times, outstrikes him significantly 104-41. Insane. Knocks him out in round number 3. Just violent from Carlos Prates. And round 1, it's back and forth. Jack lands a takedown to end the round, really separate himself. We can kind of see Carlos was getting the edge in the striking, landing some harder shots. It is what it is. Getting around 2, the tempo's picking up a bit. Prates is landing some harder shots, actually drops Jack, but Jack is still firing back. And it really looked like, he was dealing some damage heading into round number 3. We get to round 3. 46 significant strikes to 1. Jack landed 1 significant strike, and Mike Beltran let this go as much as it could, but, Jack Della Maddalena's legs were shot. His face was beat up, and Prates was just toying with him. Prates was trying to clip him. He really was. He was refusing to do ground and pound, so he dropped him the first time, and he's like, all right, you get back up. Then he dropped him the second time and let him get back up. And then, the third time he got knocked out, he's like, all right, I should probably knock this guy out. Landed some vicious elbows. Oh my gosh, just some nasty elbows on top of JDM. And Beltran probably let it go a bit longer than he should have, but nonetheless, Carlos Prates gets the victory. The legend of Carlos Prates grows. All right, I want you to know that this guy is now has 7 wins in the UFC. All of them are knockouts. All of them he's gotten a performance of the bonus night. It's insane. It's insane, all right? 19th career knockout. He now has 22 of his 24 wins by finish. And he's about to be ranked number 1 in the welterweight division come Tuesday morning, I should say. And he's leapfrogging Ian Gary. I know they're saying Ian Gary is going to get the title shot. I know people were clamoring for Michael Morales, but after this, when we compare performances, what Carlos Prates just did against a guy in JDM who's tough as nails, compared to Morales and Brady and Ian Gary and Bilal Muhammad, this has been the most impressive performance so far. So Prates, you're ranked number 1. If he's not getting a title shot in his next fight, I don't know what we're doing, UFC. I don't care if we have to wait till the end of the year. Carlos Prates should be fighting for a belt next time he fights. I mean, after losing to Ian Gary in April of 2025, complete 180, all right? 3 straight wins, and every finish just seems to get better than the last. So amazing work, Carlos Prates. Whether Islam Makhachev, Ian Gary, Michael Morales, give this guy a title shot if you're going to do anything. For Jack Della Maddalena, it's tough. It's tough, man. After being on an 18-fight winning streak, you're now on a 2-fight losing streak. But to be fair, it's to the current number 1 pound-for-pound Islam Makhachev, and probably the most dangerous striker on the roster right now in Carlos Prates. So JDM will probably drop down to either number 2, number 3, or I could even see him going down to number 4 in the rankings, if I'm being honest. Probably going to need to take some time off, really reflect. He's kind of been through a couple of the guys at the top of the division. Maybe, I don't really know, depending on what happens. I think the winner of Sean Brady and Joaquin Buckley should be what's next for JDM later in the year. I'm thinking maybe more August, September. We see Jack return, but yeah, tough loss here for you. It's hard to feel bad when I was rooting so heavily for Prates, but yeah, seeing how bummed JDM was did kind of make me feel a bit sad. But hey, it's the fight game. It's how it goes. And JDM, I don't doubt you'll be back. You already became champion, so you can't really complain. But hey, the night belongs to Carlos Prates, wins his 2nd career main event, and I am 3rd career main event, actually. Wow, this man's collecting main events like you wouldn't believe. And I'm excited to see him fight for a belt next, wherever it may be. So, yeah, Carlos Prates, you're an absolute savage. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for your little UFC Perth recap. The night belongs to Quinlan Sakiad and Carlos Prates. Just 2 absolute beauties. And after a pretty lackluster prelims, you get a pretty fun main card to go along with that. So we look ahead to UFC 328. I cannot wait to predict that. Khamzat Chimaev, Sean Strickland still is insane. We live in the timeline where we were able to get this fight. You also have Joshua Van, Tatsuro Taira, Alexander Volkov, Waldo Cortez Acosta, that Sean Brady, Joaquin Buckley fight I was talking about. You get a Teba Gadier on the prelims, Joel Alvarez and Yaroslav Amosov, Grant Dawson, Matus Rebecca, that Jim Miller, Jared Gordon fight, Roman Kopylov, Marco Tulio, and you get Barcelona Sutsukharov back in action. You get a handful of fights coming at you from Newark, New Jersey. So tune in. We'll be predicting all of that. You best bet. You best bet. If you thought we weren't going to be predicting that, you must have been silly, okay? And we're setting up. We're going to try and get a guest on. All right, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it work. I hope I can, but I am going to try and get a very special guest. And before you ask, no, it's a random. It'd be an interview/prediction episode from a fighter currently on, I don't know if he's an amateur or pro, but I'm looking forward to it. So stay tuned for that, ladies and gentlemen. But for the time being, thank you so much for listening. I absolutely appreciate the living daylights out of you all. Have an amazing week, and I'll catch you next time on the Surprise Jab Podcast.